Hey, it's good to see you. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody tells a joke and you just don't get it? Or maybe there's a instructor that's teaching a class and you're just not quite catching the information that he's giving. That offbeat feeling of not understanding what exactly it is that's being taught. Or maybe you are being presented something and you kind of get it, and once you start to move on it, you forget and you're just like, hey, wait a minute, what was said again? Well, I'm going to talk to you today about a story that Jesus told about a man that was a sower. And what this sower did was he went and he planted seed. He sprinkled seed. Now, some of the seed that he sprinkled fell upon the wayside or in the sides of the road. And when it did, the birds of the air came and they ate it, gobbled it up. So that seed never even got to take ground or root. Then there was seed that fell on thin soil or stony places where there was rock and just a little bit of soil. Now that seed, it began to take root, but when the sun came up, it was hot. And since their roots weren't deep, those sproutlings actually disintegrated. They died. They could not, they perished. They could not survive. So then there was seed that he sprinkled that fell amongst vines and thorns. And that seed began to grow, but as it began to grow, the vines that were already there reached around and choked the root, so the seed wasn't able to flourish. And then there was seed that fell on what was called the good ground. And this seed took root. The ground had the nutrients that were necessary to feed the sproutlings, and they were able to grow. And they grew and they produced fruit. And much fruit, 100-fold fruit, okay? 100 times, 60 times, 30 times as much fruit as they were able to produce. So why am I sharing this story, and why is this parable even told? This parable is told to help us to understand our heart. What kind of ground is your heart when it comes time to receiving information? When it comes time to receiving advice, when it comes time to receiving direction or even correction. You see, some of us we don't even understand it. We hear it and it doesn't make sense to us, so it immediately gets yanked away, like the birds that come down and take the seed from the wayside. It just gets away from us. Boom, we don't even get it, over our head, so to speak, okay? Then there's some of us that have stony hearts. What I mean is we're very set in our ways. We already know, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And so someone comes and they teach us something and we look at it and we're like, hey, that's interesting. And we start to pursue it. But as we start to pursue it, since we don't have enough root, or it doesn't take enough root within us, or we didn't do the work to dig into understanding it, eventually it goes away. Sort of like a New Year's resolution, right? And then there's those of us who have, our hearts are like that thorny, viney ground. Meaning that when we're taught something new, it begins to take root and we start working it and we start executing and we start pursuing it. But we have too many things we care about that we don't want to let go of. We don't want to let go of our material possessions or reputation, or something that we're holding on to begins to choke the life out of that new information or that new knowledge that we could have potentially gained and activated. And then there's the good ground, the heart that has been toiled, the heart that's been worked. The heart that through meditation, concentration, and prayer, we've removed obstacles. We've taken out the stones. We're ready to yield. We've taken out the vines. There's nothing holding us down. And we've prepared our mind for understanding so that we can comprehend and activate whatever the knowledge is that's being presented to us. So my question for you is, what kind of ground are you? Are you ready to receive and activate information in your life? Please comment, like, share, and follow, and I'll see you soon.